Here's a bit of a mystery. This differential's clonking, but why? So this is the differential, the Salisbury differential out the NATO 110 V8, and it was kind of clunky, you know. And I've checked everything on it. So the mesh between the teeth here and the pinion, which is sort of in here, this is not for this one. This one is for that one. And you can see here I've put two CV joints in and I'm testing it, but I'll more on that in a minute. So what was wrong with this one? Well, for some strange reason there was a clonking coming from the back when you drove it. You go bang bang, and you've heard it before. So I took the original shims out here and I bought new ones, thinking that would tighten it up. Well, it did. It tightened it up so much it wouldn't even turn. So what's going on? And this video is trying to get to the bottom of it, because it's a very simple setup, but difficult to explain. So if you're familiar with a differential, well, you'll understand what I'm trying to get at. But if you're not, how does it work? Well, your pinion turns this crown wheel here, which is in a housing. It's all in one big cast housing, and it's driven by pin. It's driving these pins here. Alright, so imagine that. So that's in there, that's clamped there, so those pins are the driving pins. Now, when you're going straight, these do not turn. They don't turn when you're straight. And this is why I've got this as an example. When you're going straight, they don't turn. But if you want to turn round, this one's going that way and that one's going this way. That means that when you're going round a bend, for example, one wheel will go slower than the outside wheel, which is going around the outside of the bend. It compensates for it. It's very clever. That's particularly easy. That's all it ever does. But down here we've got a bit of a problem, because I thought it was the shims here that were too loose. Alright, you get that? So I bought a new set. And they were quite a bugger to get hold of. I had to get them from England. Couldn't get them from around here. Nobody had any. So I replaced those. And I also replaced these thrust washers that go on the end of here. Alright? And there's the original one from here. But when I bolt it all up, it's too tight. It won't turn. It won't turn at all. So let me get that set up and I'll show you. So I've reassembled this differential with the new shims here and new shims here. Now this is the problem. Now I'll take this off and I'll show you, because you probably won't see this again. The shims in here are thrust washers, so that this, when it's turning, is flung out to the side. But it also means that if you put those shims in that are thicker, it's going to push this gear outwards, thus tightening it up. You get it? If it was a thin shim, these would come out, that would go down, because they're driving at 90 degrees. So let's just try that. I don't think it's going to work. Why don't you put this diff, the other diff in? Well, it's not matched to the crown wheel. So where's the mark? There's the mark. There we go. Put that in. Just give it a little nip down. Right. That wire annoying. Now we'll do the same experiment, and the 24 spline on the CV is exactly the same, but at least it gives you something to grab hold of. There you go. So, okay, so it's solid that way, but there's no way that I can turn that round. It's absolutely locked up. You can see the gears trying to move, but it's locked up solid. Oh. So this is like beware, because if you put these shims in thinking you're going to, you know, overhaul your diff, and you don't test it, you could be in for a nasty shock. I mean, that won't even turn. Whereas if I put this one in here, when you're going around the corner, that one turns like that. So why don't you put the old shims back in? Well, that's what I'm going to do. Well, I'll leave it running. You might find something interesting. The wires get on there. I only put 2 bolts because I've had this in and out that many times. I'm getting sick of it. And like I say, everything else on this diff measures up fine. So there's a thick shim. Let's get those gears out. So we take that off. And you can see how beefy this is. Like the front axle on a Defender is really cheesy. We put that in with the original shim somewhere. There we go. So there's the original shim. And then we're going to change these thrust washers to the originals. In there. Should take the other one off first, but there's a little bit of trouble there. We've got 4. We've got that in. There we go. Now you can see now how those gears move. So obviously when we put this piece in, you'll see them go outwards. And it turns fine. Don't get me wrong, it turns fine. So we'll put that on. That's the original shim. And remember, this diff's only done about 60,000 kilometres. It's done nothing. Right, where's me mark? Must always line them up by the correct marks. We'll give that a bit of a wipe off, make sure that's alright. There it is. Now, what's it like now? Turn. And there's no clunking. This is the mystery. Why does it bloody clunk? That's lovely. So I've got to work out why this axle clunks. It doesn't make any sense. But this, if you put that through there, there's nothing. Nothing at all. And it's nice and free to move. But you saw there, if I was to put shims in. Now those shims weren't original. They were our favourite Britpart ones, but they were all consistent. They were all the same size. You know, like when you open a packet, like these things in, they're all the same size. But are they too thick? Am I going to put that back in again and find out it's clonking? I don't know. But to me, because that doesn't turn, and I'm really trying really hard. Could it be the spline on the shafts? I don't know at all. Anyway, That's something to look for. Right, I'm going to go and get my breakfast now. See ya.